to see today. Fnatic and Dignitas facing off, and Dignitas coming out in game number 1 with explosive rounds here and earning a victory.
Yeah, and especially at the end of the game, it was one of those funny moments when we had 2 altars on the map, and it was a massive team fight, huge brawl, and it just ended up with Breeze on Variant going up against Tyrael and Malfurion. I'm not gonna lie to you, my first instinct on the side of Dignitas would have been try and somehow kill Breeze.
Yeah.
This is one of those games where you try to kill a Variant, it doesn't work, you end up losing the game, and then after you start thinking and you calm down again, you think, why didn't we just split?
Yes.
It's one of those things, it's a mistake that is so easy to make in the heat of the battle, and then later, once that you have a clear head, within a second, it comes to your mind like, why didn't we just win the game? And they didn't even hesitate. It was like, okay, 2-on-1, 2 of the altars, let's split and win it.
It was perfect timing, too, because Falsa was up in 10 seconds. So if you don't get over there in the next 3 to 4 seconds, he flies in, and that actually becomes a scenario where Fnatic might actually start to come back on the map. So let's get ready for game number 2 and figure out the battleground that we're going to. It's going to be BOE, and this has been chosen by Fnatic. Now, this used to be a battleground they didn't pull off that much in the past, but in the last few weeks, they have been quite dominant here, especially when they get Sylvanas.
Yeah, they definitely got a lot better here. They picked, of course, quite a bit of Greymane on the map too. Sylvanas has been something that they used, especially against team where they felt they could rush it. Against Team Liquid, they had a very, very short series, a very short match on this one. So I'm excited for this in particular. I really want to see it, to be honest, for me personally, I want to see this to go into a 5th game. I want to see as many games as possible. Of course, Dignitas in particular, they have a very, very different plans. They want to make this a clean 3-0 sweep to make it nearly impossible for Fnatic to have a chance. And the important thing is really the team that wins today then has control. That's the important thing, because both of them have still a match left next weekend.
Next weekend will be an interesting weekend for sure, but let's get through this one here. Dignitas will now get ready for their ban, and I mentioned the Sylvanas from Fnatic, but we have also seen a lot of Sylvanas from Dignitas in the past too. They don't mind running the hero here. So it's a question of whether or not Sylvanas goes up in priority. Normally it's a 5th pick surprise, but between both these teams, we might see it earlier or even banned out.
I personally don't think that we're going to see it rise in priority too much. I could see it in the draft, but I wouldn't say that it takes priority over other heroes like the Greymane that we're currently seeing being picked up by Dignitas here. And immediate reaction from Fnatic, they are not even hesitating. They lock down the Arthas and they lock down the Anub'arak. They go for that double frontline that they have showed so many times. And now that we have our pace set, I think if one of the teams aims for Sylvanas, still a good possibility.
This is such a deadly combo too. The Anub'arak gets a burrow charge in, he has the Impale if he has to slow down the fight overall, and Arthas gets the easy root setup. And if you have a root there from Arthas, you're usually going to get your engage that you want. You're able to walk in and start the fight. So disengage will be key here for Dignitas. Luckily for Greymane, they have some mobility here. They can dark flight out of the fight, but still, Fnatic just putting this really solid tandem of warriors together, and they expect to start fights as much as they can.
I was just simply impressed by how Dignitas played in the last game. It looked very, very clean. And they are adding the Tyrael to the Greymane composition once again, this time with the addition of Lucio. So at this point, they do not have a cleanse on their team. But the important part to really note is that Greymane is just such a staple for them. Together with JPL, really providing these sancts whenever they need them. And the coordination was just on point. Fnatic had that to an extent, but especially when we're talking about that last fight, Uther going in with his own Divine Storm and then the Horrify following, not really well timed after that. I mean, they stacked the 2 of them, but it wasn't to an extent where you say, okay, this is a perfect stacking of 2 heroics that are trying to disable your opponent. Fnatic just didn't look as crisp as Dignitas did on the first map.
Yeah, Dignitas definitely coming out with a little bit more heat over Fnatic. Fnatic will ban out the Muradin here. Watching out for any hard engage. Does Muradin make a lot of sense there for you?
They must definitely know something that we don't. Muradin wouldn't have really been the hero that I would say is an insta-pick for Dignitas. It's not that Muradin is bad by any means. Muradin is great for indirect engage, and of course, with the Stormbolt, he can really set something up for the rest of the team. But that they would be this afraid of Muradin in particular is still a little bit odd to me. Maybe they just wanted to make sure that Dignitas does not have another high hit point tank with direct CC available to them. I guess it's really for them just about the crowd control skills, just about the Stormbolt, but it's an interesting priority that they give the hero.
Well, we'll have to ask them about it if we get the chance later on in our interview session. So now Valla has been taken away, and Valla is one of those staples that started to become a big deal in BOE. Again, the Hungering Arrow build, we talk about it every single weekend. But would it be something that Fnatic moves into here? They definitely could. They have double warrior already. If they get a strong support, they can pop it out.
What if they go into another melee assassin now, and that's why they ban Mirrodin out, because they are saying we don't want to deal with Thunderburn?
Well, we'll find out here. There's Rhaegar. There's Falstad.
It's pretty standard. It's nothing too crazy just yet. The Vala being banned out makes, of course, sense because of that arrow build. You talked about that already a bit. We've seen some of the teams utilize still the hybrid build between where you go into the multi-shot then later on and with the auto attacks on one. But right now, Mirrodin is an interesting ban there for sure. It's definitely a hero that can have a huge impact, especially since it's so hard to take him down. But at the same time, we rarely see bans against him, especially as the second ban, unless you know that a team favors him very highly and has maybe a limited hero pool on the tank.
Which is not the case for Dignitas. If anyone were to run it, it would be JPL, but JPL's a Tyrael, obviously, so nothing really popping out. And the Rhaegar here, you might look a little bit odd because you're used to not seeing Rhaegar, but Rhaegar really works for the double warrior. It's what he's great in healing, so with Lucio being taken out, Lucio probably one of the best with double warrior, especially when you get to level 16, Rhaegar becomes a great second choice.
To me, it's really still one of those things where I'm wondering what Fnatic picks last, because what we're currently looking at is heroes for every single player with the exception of Shwimpy. Shwimpy has played Anubarak in the past if he really needed to, but normally he's the one who will drop on your melee assassins and other heroes of that caliber. So that's something that I could see where Fnatic throws a little bit of a curveball. Maybe that makes a bit more sense than of that Mirrodin ban. And again, by no means is he a bad hero. It's just one of those things where you would have expected different bans. Kel'Thas and Stitches picked up by Dignitas, once again relying on their Stitches game. This time not with a real follow-up stun, but at least the gravity lapse on the side of Kel'Thas himself.
Okay, so some lockdown, some damage available for Dignitas here with their hooks and material. No crazy stuns except for the gravity lapse, as you mentioned. We'll see if Fnatic can handle that pressure. Now it's all about that 5th pick here, and I am wondering if we're going to get something a little bit on the outside that jumps out.
Okay, once that you have 4 heroes set up, if you're the team that has the single last pick, you normally have an idea already what you want to take, and you're waiting for your opponent's double pick. But what Dignitas now did definitely seem to have changed Fnatic's game plan, and they are currently discussing, okay, do we still follow through with it, or does that change it to an extent where we have to make adjustments? And this is why I think the original idea might probably have something to do with that Mirrodin ban on the second spot. But let's see how they adjust to that Stitches and Kel'Thas that we saw in the last one now.
Okay, here it is. It's going to be Li Ming pulled out. So Fnatic's going to go back to the Shwimpy Li Ming, which is impressive in itself. They will have to be careful. They have Tyrael and Stitches that will do a really good job of being in that front line and dealing with that Li Ming. KT, though, if he ever has to take the pressure from her, it could be burned out.
Dignitas' coordination has to be on point with this. They have no real hard CC after the hook with the exception of Kel'Thas, and that is already great, but normally you're trying to add a little bit more on it. You add another layer, you're trying to get a root with Malfurion, you have a Tyrande, which they ran at the Western Clash, so that can really help you. And since you're not running a Tyrande here either, another, not really problem, but one of the things that makes it a bit tougher for you is you don't have the armor reduction. Yeah. So you can't blow the target up that fast. If you have then, of course, the Greymane in a good spot, you might still be able to do that, but it's all a question of, can they get a long-distance hook? Can they blow the target up fast enough before Anubarak starts diving in for a stun, trying to give Rhaegar enough time to get an Ancestral through? So that's one of the things to really consider here. But we have a map where we normally have a bit of a standoff in the middle, and then hooks become a lot of value. Fnatic's positioning has to be on point. You're supposed to put it like this. There's a lot where a hook doesn't really help you. I guess we're probably with that setup seeing... I don't know. What about you? I think a Cursed Bullet here would actually make sense if you're relying on the hooks heavily. If you think the hooks are just an added tool that we have, but we are willing to go into the team fights and go for the throat for the backline would be okay. But what happens if you hook a tank? Yeah,
the Cursed Bullet's pretty easy to hit on the tanks there, so it could work out for them. We'll see how that pulls out. I'm actually more interested in the erase here. Does Greymane and KT beat Falstad and Li Ming poke? And I believe just barely. False is actually pretty quick at putting damage out. It's actually kind of underrated what he can do on an Immortal phase. We'll find out, though, as we're ready for game number 2 here. Let's go ahead and jump on in. Dignitas is up 1-0. Up 1 second here. It looks like we had a last-second pause. Hang on. Not quite ready. They wanted to rev the engines here. And
we're just teasing you guys a little bit.
A little bit of a pump fake, you know, one of those hand egg references right there. Gotcha.
You've never seen that?
Hand egg?
Yeah, hand
I mean,
egg.
I've heard it before. I didn't know.
But you know why, right?
Why? Why is it?
I mean, it's not actually it's not actually a ball. It's an egg, and you play it with your hands compared to a ball and football, hand egg.
Oh, I mean, I guess a ball is pretty
round
and round, but a football is kind of round too, man. It's
in which universe is a football round?
America universe, which is the best universe.
True.
You know.
True.
It's true.
Is that also the reason why you guys can't really deal with the metric system?
That is true, actually. Yes.
We had very fun discussions about
metric
that already.
Metric system was hard, dude. I'm still trying to get centimeters and millimeters down. One day I'm gonna get it. One day I'm gonna do a meter reference for you guys, and I hope that there's podcasts.
You have no idea how hard he's working on this. He's not
hard.
even kidding, because we've been talking about this a lot. We're in the European broadcast, and every time he chips in the yards, I make a little bit of fun of him later on. So he said, okay, I have to really lock this down, and I have to study this. And the one thing that I'm afraid of is that one day he makes a beautiful reference about kilometers per hour or meters, and nobody notices it. So if he ever does it, guys, appreciate it, because the man is working on it hard.
I'm working really hard on it, man. And you were telling me about you being up in Germany and driving on the Autobahn and going 200 kilometers an hour. And, like, just in my mind, I immediately think miles per hour. And I'm like, he's going so fast. Caldor needs to slow down, man. And then we actually do the math. It's like 130. And, like, it's pretty fast, but, geez, pretty crazy. So we're going to come right back, guys. It looks like our teams are quite ready to go. But when we get back, we'll jump into game number 2.
The demon Asmodan had his ultimate victory within reach, until the opposing heroes dealt him a devastating defeat. Asmodan went back to the drawing board and rediscovered his love of the game. The Lord of Sin became the Lord of the Slam.
This is my house. Let's see if you've got game. There it is. Dude, welcome to my jam. Fresh meat.
Heroes of the Storm. Play free and experience the new StarCraft-themed Battlegrounds. Rated T for Teen.
Welcome back, Caldor. We're getting ready here for our second game, and it looks like BOE's ready to go.
Yeah, we are ready to go. After we baited you guys a little bit earlier, we're now actually ready to jump straight into the game. There might not be a lot of fresh meat in this one, but this series sure is hype. Game number 2 is happening, as we said before, on Battlefield of Eternity. Dignitas is in the lead against Fnatic in this epic best-of-5 match. And to the left side, we have Dig with Snitch on Greymane once again. Bakery on Lucio. JPL with the hooks on Stitches. So much playtime. Zillion Tyrael and Mena. He wants to see the world burn with his Kel'Thas.
That is the truth. While Fnatic on the right side, Smexy here will be hoping to heal out those burns on his Rhaegar. Breeze will be on a new Brack dive in the back line. We're going to have Wagnix playing the Falstad. And finally, we get to see Schwimpy on Li Ming once again. The last time I saw this guy play Li Ming, he got 5 kills right in a row. It's so awesome, man, on the bottom lane on Infernal Shrines. And then, of course, our final here is going to be Wubby on Arthas.
These players are definitely on... from a skill cap perspective, these guys are absolutely fantastic. But what we've seen in terms of coordination on the side of Dignitas in game number 1 was exceptional. Once again, Immortal Race can of course be a big factor here, thanks to the Lightning Bond on Rhaegar as the level 1 talent. Fnatic has already a very nice setup here for themselves. So this is definitely one of those situations where both of them have a good potential to go for the Immortal. I would even give a bit of an advantage to Fnatic thanks to Rhaegar and whatever else they can bring to the table here. But those hooks that we will see on the side of JPL, that's something that could change the entire game.
Yeah, JPL is known for disrupting how battle unfolds with his hooks. He's incredibly aggressive and lands them almost every single time. Now, if KT will be on point with the Gravity Lapse follow-up, they'll be in a good spot to get kills. Now, notice what's happening here. Fnatic has put 4 people on the top, which is not the standard. Normally put 4 on 4 on the bottom, and we have a map rotation occurring as both teams are going to go for forts.
Yeah, both of them are going for the trade here. Up to the top, Xaylia soaking experience and trying to disrupt Fnatic a little bit. But of course, the same thing is happening down to the bottom of the map, where we currently see a fort destroyed as Dignitas is even a little bit faster. Wells are taking down too. And now we have both of the teams just basically skipping a huge part of the early game and saying, boys, let's go straight to level 4 and make sure that we race the Immortals down.
That's a good point there. They go straight to level 4. Oh, a hook connects here. Wubby gets locked down. And Wubby, although he's Arthas and that hero never dies, he will get killed off in a 4v1.
And that is exactly what we've been saying when we were referring to the hooks a bit earlier. I really want to see what we have as an heroic ability on the side of Greymane. I could definitely see them come out with a Cursed Bullet, because so far, if they are hooking an Arthas or an Nubarak later in the game, it's going to be very difficult in these teamfight scenarios to drop them if you do not go for a Cursed Bullet for the initial chunk. So they need to adjust that a bit. For now also, Fnatic with the level 4s, both of them with 5 mans on the map. But Dignitas, thanks to that hook and the kill against Arthas, has a slight lead in the race.
A slight lead in the race, but we still have Fnatic setting up to defend it. We're going to have Wubby and Breeze moving forward. They're going to go straight for JPL. Wubby gets pushed into the side here on top of Bakery. Now JPL's getting focused down, but himself, Breeze here, actually gets burned down, and so does Wubby. 2 tanks down for Fnatic.
Fnatic losing both of the tanks, and they might lose more than that, since Quacknix does not have the cooldown for the barrel roll up to this moment. Gets a heal from Rhaegar, and that saves him. But this is not the start that Fnatic was hoping for. Dignitas, they said from the start, we want the 3-0. We want to make sure that we have the best possible position to get in the #1 spot, and Fnatic is visibly struggling.
They are. Quacknix, oh my gosh, he flies in and he gets burned down. He's low on health. Can he survive? He's trying to. Xaylia chasing him down, but he eventually gets taken out.
Quacknix, the mistake. He's down, and Xaylia is escaping here. Dignitas not taking any prisoners today. They are ruthless, and they take down the bird and also win the Immortal.
Dignitas is just not allowing anyone to make any mistakes. If you make a mistake, you are dead. Quacknix flying in there. He had 3 to 4 teammates to show up around him. He just did not expect Dignitas to be that aggressive forward.
Alex the Pro G said it on Twitter. We've been going over it earlier today. He said, when everything's on the line, Dignitas just shows up. And that's happening as we speak. Fnatic needs to simply say, guys, listen, calm down. We can do this, but let's not fall behind with an 0-2. It's only the first Immortal here, but still, Fnatic now needs to muster up a good defense. Arthur's still at the bottom for experience, and keep in mind that Dignitas is soon going to reach level 7.
Dignitas does hit 7 now. The wall has broken down for the first wall, but the shield's also depleting here for the Immortal. They're moving in on top of the fort. They should get some damage in here, especially with Greymane being in the front line, chunking where he can. Breeze comes in for a rotation to apply a little bit of damage overall, but the fort continues to fall, and Dignitas seems to want it all.
Yeah, Dignitas is going to get it here. They poke a little bit more, and the second fort has fallen, so that is definitely an issue. And if you look at experience, Dignitas has taken an entire level lead over Fnatic. Definitely not the spot you want to be in if you're already down 1 map in the best-of-5 series.
Fnatic in a very rough spot, as you're mentioning. They do have pretty solid clears, so they can clear out their mercenaries, get bottom lane going, move towards level 7 themselves, and try to get 5 before 10 happens. But for the moment, Dignitas in a really solid lead here, 8-6. A 7 is about to hit for Fnatic. I have Greymane in the top lane, grabbing mercenaries. JPL and crew are rotating down, as Fnatic has started to just group up as 5.
Yeah, Fnatic is currently grouping. They still need the level 7 talent. What's happening here is basically Fnatic trailing behind, and they need to win the next Immortal. The big problem is, if they do not win the next objective, there's a very good chance that Dignitas is snowballing out of control. But the next fight should happen without level 10s on the side of Dignitas, and that's what Fnatic needs right now. A good kill against Snitch would be a very good start for them. The helping hand!
Snitch comes in, gets picked up by his teammate here, Zelia, attempting to live. Can he escape, or will he pay for the sins of Snitch? Another helping hand, but Wubby comes in from the side. He gets him here, and now JPL in trouble too.
JPL going boss mode though. I'm really liking it. Mane now covering the retreat. Breeze already moving in from the side, trying to body block JPL. Here comes Rega, slows him down. The death of Stitches. Fnatic is showing up.
Yes, they are starting to get picks. They do have to deal with the mercenaries of pushing in the top and the south at some point, but for now, getting a couple of kills has awarded them some experience. Now, Dignitas is still ahead, 9-7. They have a full level lead over their opponent as 8 is about to hit for Fnatic, and they can move in for these Immortals, especially here with JPL spawning in a second or two.
Good positioning for Dignitas at this point to the left, so there's no chance for Fnatic to burst it down a little bit more. Fnatic would have preferred the opponent's Immortal start towards the right, so they could have gotten a bit of a lead. But now they have to retreat and well up, and that gives Dignitas time to chunk this one down to maybe near even half health. 2 camps are pushing the top and the bot lane. Fnatic needs to be careful here. The 2 kills against Dignitas were great, but they were not enough just yet. The lead in experience still goes to the blue team.
Still here, there's also Mercenary still on the bottom. Arthas is going to rotate down to clear that out, which will indicate to Dignitas they can go in for an engage. I'm watching JPL. Can he hit the hook? Quacknix will dodge it effortlessly, it looks like. In a good spot as Zelia continues with the Eldruins to poke back that back line while Stitches keeps walking forward to drop down those W's.
Arthur starting to make his way back into the middle any moment now that Zelia is poking against Quacknix, but a very well-placed healing ward by Rega helped with a sustain. Now they need to try and fight. Keep in mind, level 10 is only half a level away from Dignitas. If they get heroic abilities, that would be a huge advantage to them.
9.5 here for Dignitas. They're still half a level away before getting that level heroic. 10. Gonna have Tyrael head the top lane to get that experience.
Tyrael shows top lane. That's where Fnatic has to go in. Hook is there. Hook is there. Cleanse being used, dodging the stun. Fnatic is poking, trying to go for the Immortal, at least chunking it down to half. 10 still not there for Dignitas, but now we have JPL and Zelia both going for Breeze.
Wubby coming around from the left side, though. He comes in for a big, massive flank. He's looking for Greymane. He's low on health. He actually gets dropped by the gravity lapse here. Wubby dead, and now 10, a second away here. Dignitas finally grabbing the heroics and starting the halftime show.
They have the 10, and Fnatic has 1 hero left, or 1 hero down. So at this point, they cannot contest too much. They might be able to chunk a few more of those hit points down, but they don't even risk it. Their whole objective with this was actually to just simply go for the halftime show. To chunk it down to 50%, they realized, hey guys, this is in the end not going to work out for us. We are too far away from level 10 to contest this. Dignitas will eventually reach the heroic abilities, so let's just try and go in super early. We can even sacrifice a hero or 2, just make sure that we don't have to deal with a 100% shield Immortal. Let's make it a 50, that gives us a better chance, and we also can in the meantime grab our own EXP so that we can at least defend with heroic abilities.
Well, the experience they've grabbed has put them very close to level 10. They need a little bit more of a wave here, and then they'll have 10, and they can defend against Dignitas' push. But Dignitas is looking scary right now.
Yeah. They definitely are. Dignitas is looking extremely strong. And of course, Fnatic knows about those hook attempts. JPL is trying to flank it in from the side. Breeze needs to be cautious here. Needs to be careful. So try and dodge and can go over the wall any second now. The 10 is there. They have it. Ancestral. You have the Cocoon. They're trying to dive into the backline. Cocoon some of them. Whoopi is already there. And Fnatic is looking for an opening as they're still working on the Immortal's hit points.
So far, though, the defense has been great for Fnatic. They are pushing down this Immortal, getting it low here, and they will save their key. JPL and crew will mount up and escape from the area, taking what they can. Breeze is actually looking for a kill. He goes for an impale with a bed of barbs. Does not connect, and do note he has Cocoon.
Exactly. Breeze was hoping to get close enough to one of the opponents so that he can use the Cocoon and they can force a fight on level 10s. The one thing that you have to really visualize right now is how Fnatic realizes that they are now on even talents. They have the opportunity to take a fight with the opponent while both of the teams are on 10, or they can wait for both of the teams to hit 13 and then do the same thing. One way or another, they are the ones who have to look for an engagement because they are behind. They need to close that gap in EXP, since Dignitas is always going to be very happy to wait it out, wait until they have a talent lead, and then force an engagement on their own terms.
JPL looking for a hook as he sneaks over here on the right side. Can he connect it onto Li Ming? He actually gets it. The gravity lapse comes out. Li Ming is low on health. Schwimpy is teleporting, and Smexy will bring out the heal. They expected something was up, and Smexy was so patiently waiting to aid his teammates.
Smexy didn't use Ancestral.
That was just a pure Q. He knew he had it.
Wow. I would have been shitting my pants at that moment. I would have been like, throw that Ancestral out right now or Li Ming is dead. And he's just sitting there, he's just like, boys, I got this. It's fine. I can save him. I don't need to burn my cooldown. And that's so good for them right now. It could have been horrible, but it's great because now they don't need to wait for Ancestral to come up before they can fight.
I mean, even if that kill did go out and you used Ancestral, it probably would have hurt if you wouldn't have other Immortal face. And maybe he just thought, okay, if I lose Li Ming, I lose her. But if I save her, it's still great overall. Just great control by Smexy and understanding where his heroics are important. And that spot, if the hook goes out, Li Ming would have been back in time no matter what.
Yeah, but whoa. Okay, so 13, that's going to be the big one, and it just coincidence with the Immortal spawning on the map. Dignitas is found out Zelia, map awareness, doesn't see anybody on the map, starts checking bushes, I like it. But the 13 talent, that's what Dignitas wants. And what is Fnatic going to do? Are they just backing off the Immortal? Are they trying to raise? Or are they willing to take the team fight with the opponent having an advantage in talents in a few seconds?
They know that currently Dignitas is split up as we're going to have Tyrion on the top getting that level 13. So they went down and put a little bit of damage on before they had to move back as Dignitas does hit the 13. Now Mercenaries are pushing in once again. So Fnatic will send Falstad down to the bottom lane to deal with that. And the moment that occurs, Dignitas rotates to the top here. They start pushing down the Immortal, getting it down as much as they can, poking as much as they possibly can move in forward. While Arthas and Rhaegar are just grabbing what they can. Arthas is even thinking about grabbing the Mercs at the very north.
They're just simply, oh, Arthas, Whoopi, Zelia. Okay, he can't go in. The hook is not ready, at least not in time. Stitch just was not in position to throw that out, but now they still do not have 13. They still don't. Here we go. They are going for the Immortal once again. Fnatic wants to fight, but they don't have the 13 yet. They split Falstad down to the bottom, but Fnatic is once again starting to lose the hit points on their own Immortal. Finally, the talent is there. Do they make the split call? They don't.
Dignitas has just been on point with the rotations of their movement. Even making the decision right away to drop the Phoenix and use Greymane to burn down the Immortal, and nets him a massive lead here on the Immortal. The shields at about 3/4 of the health.
It's also showing a lot of patience on the side of Fnatic, though. They are willing to give up so much here because they realize this spot they're in. And oh, talking about that, Zelia is falling. Zelia is down. It was only a few seconds until he had his Sanctification up again, and that kill, that is the saving grace of Fnatic.
Yeah.
They could have lost a keep at the bot lane if not for the kill against Tyrael, but now they have a 5 versus 4 going for them. And with Cocoon, if Dignitas would move in with this, they would take a big, big risk.
That effectively kills this push completely, and
Yeah.
Dignitas is aware of it. They just go ahead and rotate out. They're going to head top lane and move towards that 16 instead. Fnatic getting that kill was instrumental in this defense. And now, with them saving it, they have both their keeps still available on the map, which means the next Immortal phase, they can take fights they would like.
So if you're a bit surprised that Dignitas backs off here to that extent, it's pretty easily explained. Fnatic has a 5 versus 4 going for them, and even if the Immortal is there, it doesn't help Dignitas enough, because Fnatic would have dived into the backline, would have cocooned one of the targets, and then effectively fought a 5 versus 3 team fight. And that is something that Dignitas can't afford, because they know if they lose 2-3 heroes here, the experience gap would not only be closed, the pendulum would swing the other direction, and all of a sudden Fnatic would be in the lead. But for Fnatic, this was actually a very cool situation, because they were already willing to give up a lot since they didn't want to fight against the talent advantage of the opponent. But getting that kill helped their cause a lot. Now they have to defend again, as Dignitas is poking at the bot lane, but not getting the pressure against the keep just yet, because Fnatic, they anticipated it.
Yeah, they put a little pressure there, and the moment they don't see Falstad, they decide to pull back. You do not want to be in a scenario where Falstad flies in behind you and drops that Mighty Gust into an Arthas. Arthas will just sit on top of anyone he can, particular Greymane, even the tanks there, and they will have no escape whatsoever. So Dignitas plays safe, they get 15.25 of experience, and they'll move towards that level 16, farming as much as they can as the unit of 5.
Fnatic is really cautious of traps at this point. You can see Arthas checking with the Howling Blast if there's someone waiting, just trying to make sure that they know exactly what's going on. One trap, if you fall into a single trap here and lose a hero, you can lose the game at this point. This is, for Fnatic, still a situation in which they can recover. But once more, the situation occurs where Dignitas, with the Immortal, is looking for the talent advantage. It's a very unfortunate spot for Fnatic to be in, that every time the objective is there, they are starting to fall behind in XP. And this is why they're aggressively looking for kills, and this time they get it.
That was an incredibly aggressive play, and the kill actually nets him an even point here for Talents. They're slightly behind Dignitas, but nothing's not manageable here, as they can move into 16, and they'll start damaging the Immortal and possibly get a lead. They got the Immortal down to almost half health already.
Fnatic has been the punching ball of Dignitas in the first half of this game, in the first 12 minutes, but in the last few, they really made a lot happen here. First of all, they get these kills when they need them. Now they have the Immortal on 50%. Dignitas is not even contesting it. 4 seconds until the Graham is back. Breeze with the zoning, always trying to zone the opponent out. They are going for it. Hook does not hit anything, and this should be an Immortal in favor of Dignita, in favor of Fnatic with 100%. Gust is out, but at the same time, the kill against Rhaegar, that was exactly the kill that Dignitas needed. They're moving in again. They want to drop Breeze, and they might get the kill even with a Cocoon. He cannot save himself. Hook comes out again, but Quarknix able to move away. Li Ming still trapped to the left. Arthur's on the run too. Fnatic is just all over the place, trying to escape from Dignitas as the blue team is hunting them down.
Almost getting mania there, Shrimpy does, but he is going to be picked off at the last second. 3 members fall, and this is a very similar situation to what we just saw earlier, where Fnatic got a kill on Dignitas, and they were able to defend their keep. Now, Dignitas kills 3 members of Fnatic, and they easily move in, and they kill off this Immortal, which would have been a killer blow due to how big the shield is.
100% Immortal push with 5 members of Fnatic alive would have been fantastic for the Swedish team. But Dignitas, they got their kills, and that was fantastic. They drove a wedge between the Fnatic team members and picked them off one after another. And the big move was isolating Rhaegar. That was the one thing that won them this opportunity. If Rhaegar is alive and can heal the teammates, if he can throw the Ancestral out, it is nearly impossible for Dignitas to make this happen. So Dignitas, they somehow find an angle towards the only target that really enables them this massive team fight, and they take him down.
And now we're in a spot where Dignitas is ahead here, 17-16, about a level overall. But in terms of talents, we are even. In terms of infrastructure, we're even too. Keep a little bit weaker in the top right corner for Fnatic, but they're in a spot where they can help contest in these fights.
For Fnatic, the triple kill against them was annoying. But let's think think about that spare. Oh my god, they get the Cocoon, but then the kill. Jebated.
That is a kill right away as Snitch goes in. Schwimpy also getting hit with the hook here as JPL keeps looking for more kills. Ancestral is on point, but Schwimpy burns down again, down to less than a quarter health. Wubby's being locked down on top of KT on the bottom left here. Can they save Mayday? The sound barrier comes out just in time, and Bakery will save his teammate.
Whoopi is about to fall. The Smex God was able to save Schwimpy with an amazing Ancestral. Absolutely fantastic. But the bait of Tyrael, the trap set up by Dignitas, Tyrael baits, and then we have Fnatic running right into it. That was fantastic. Now the Immortal is spawning in another 30 seconds. The keep at the bot lane will have fallen by the time. Fnatic, they need to wait for Arthurs. They can still make these plays. They're not out of it just yet, but it is just beautiful to see what Dignitas is pulling off in these games.
Dig getting the kill on the keep there after those 2 pickoffs. Will be able to have Catapult pushing the bottom right, and they're looking for another kill here. They're chasing down Breeze. Bakery brings out the knockback. We're going to have Tyrael moving forward, the holy ground to lock a Nubrak on the side.
No Ancestral. Breeze is low, and he's about to fall. Big mistake from Fnatic. No reason to lose another target here. The hook against Quarknix. He gets away and gusts them off. But still, this is Dignitas saying, we have a 5 versus 4. We don't even go for the Immortal. We take the keep, and 10, we take your life.
Now Fnatic's in a spot where they definitely have to fight, and they have to win decisively here to defend against the catapult push that'll be in the top lane and the bottom lane, and also to get an engager where they can win the Immortals.
Even after the triple kill at the last Immortal race, Fnatic was still in a better spot because that entire situation only happened because they made this aggressive move and killed Greymane. That enabled them to go to 16 and even win the Immortal. Then Dignitas equalized it with a triple kill against Fnatic, and it looked dead even. Experience was so close, and we saw that both of them would fight for this particular one now without having 20s. But Dignitas sets up an amazing trap. They get the kills in, and now they have taken both keeps. A fantastic shot call on the side of Dignitas. It's really impressive.
Fnatic's going to need a call here to make something happen. They have put False in the bottom, defend the catapult so they can have him rotate at any point. They're looking for an engage. Wubby in particular goes in. The Cocoon has been used. Quietness has flown into the fight here. JPL on the back left is retreating here with the future Bile. We're going to have Tyrael getting focused down. He is low on health. Can he survive? No. Tyrael does fall, but the Immortal goes to Dignitas.
Perfect sync on Fnatic. Perfect sync. They needed to make sure that there's no sanctification. So they chain lock him, and now Tyrael is down for 50 seconds. The Immortal is brutal, and we have nearly level 20 talents on the side of Dignitas. Fnatic, yes, they have a 5 versus 4 going for themselves, but this is still not an easy defense.
Look at this. They've left a couple members to lock down Greymane in particular. They even leave Arthas here, who's actually a hard counter to Greymane. They lock him down just to make sure that he is not in the core. Now, again,
that's a kill.
It's going to be, yep, that is. Nice Howling Blast. Can they go in for it? He's going to get out. No, Wubby finally gets a kill here. And now we need to go back to the core. Fnatic needs all hands on deck to defend.
Kel'Thas is down. Kel'Thas is dead. It's only Immortal. There's the Gus. Bakery is also on it. The core is down to 50%. Dignitas. The Immortal is so strong. 20%. Fnatic with the defense. They do everything they can. It's 10%. 1. This is it. Dignitas with a 2-0 lead in the best of 5.
Dignitas 2-0. Great shot calling there. Greymane on the back left, buying time, even though he was locked down. Arthas not being there for the defense made it a bit harder overall, and the Immortal was just enough, even without KT being available for Dignitas to get the 2-0.
If I'm Fnatic, I'm angry. I'm really angry at this point. They fell behind at the beginning of the game. Dignitas made great decisions, and then Fnatic played this super, super slow, and they said, okay, let's give this one up. Next Immortal happens. Once again, the talent lead for Dignitas, and they're just saying, okay, guys, let's give it up again. And they lose structure after structure, and then they make that one play against Greymane, and they're like, guys, we got it. We got it. We can go for the Immortal. They go in, they win it, and what happens? Rhaegar gets blown up. Dignitas identifies the one avenue they can take to take Rhaegar out. They take the kill, get the triple kill. And at that point, in the comments of Fnatic was probably, guys, okay, we missed a huge opportunity to get ahead, but we are still better off than before the Immortal phase, and we didn't give the Immortal to Dignitas. Dignitas sees it too. And what did they do? They have an amazing trap at that bot lane. It was so beautiful to watch this. Xaylia just showing with the Tyrells, and they're like, I'm all alone, you can kill me. And then all of a sudden the hook comes out, insta-kill, and it was just so well done on the side of Dignitas.
It's impressive how together Dignitas is right now. The Stitches hook into the Gravity Lapse was the only combo actually available for them, but they hit it every single time. The trust between this team here, between each other, is actually just so impressive that I'm actually a bit jealous of it. I wish I had teammates that trusted so well like Dignitas currently has for them. Let's go ahead and get ready for game number 3. Dignitas is up 2-0, and they have a chance to walk away with a 3-0.